Hello, and welcome to the Santaland podcast. I created it just for you. I'm your host, Tony Felice, and each episode I'll read to you for 10 minutes, and then we'll talk about what we just heard. Like the cricket in my story, I'll guide you through a grown-up fairy tale, one that explores ideas of existence, identity, and the soul's journey through trauma, and the transformative power of love. By the end, you'll have heard my whole story, a sneak peek into the creative process of bringing a book to life. Maybe we'll read other books together. But for now, follow the wise cricket and discover the Santaland within yourself, a place of hope, connection, and peace that's already inside of you. This podcast is especially made for those like me who feel a little different and maybe talk about math at weddings or philosophy at funerals. And like me, maybe you have a loving husband, or a wife, or somebody else that loves you. If not, we're here to love you, because you're in good company, my dear friends, here in Santaland. Hello, and welcome back to the Santaland podcast. We are up to chapter 43, and we're getting close to the end. This chapter is a tough one. And it's entitled, it's chapter 43, and it's entitled 911, What's Your Emergency? 2 days later, 911, what's your emergency? My husband's blood pressure is off the charts and his eyes are dilated. He's losing consciousness. Tom from the other room, David, come back. I have to go, please hurry, David said, leaving the connection open. He ran towards Tom, who was lying on a couch in the cottage. Grab my hand, babe, Tom said. I'm here, David replied. Honey, I feel like I'm very afraid, and I don't want you to stop looking in my eyes. If you look in my eyes, I'm okay. I'm okay. I need you to look in my eyes. I am, babe. I'm right here, David replied. David's eyes were enormous. His eyebrows had receded into his forehead from the height they raised. It's okay. They're on their way, he said. David, baby, listen to me. Don't look away. As long as you look at me, I can stay, okay? Tom's thoughts drifted to the microseconds it took for David's pupils to widen even further. He heard Wendy, in his head, say simply, No, Tom. And he wondered if she were with him right now. He struggled to determine whether Wendy said no or now. His mind raced for an answer and ran all the probabilities in his head before settling on a need to let go. A choice emerged for Tom. In the moment of an eyelash hitting the floor, he needed to simply let go. Let go of all of it. But there was panic to attend to first. Yes, I get it, David said. No, you don't. You have to keep looking at me, even when they come. You can't answer the door. But how will they get in? David asked. David, they can come around the back. It's all open. Yes, right. Stupid of me, David replied. Babe, look at me, Tom said. David was sitting on the couch, holding Tom's hand. Tom was resting on a pillow, and he looked wild, almost insane. That was the best way to describe it, as David had said later to Claire. Quote, like he was seeing God or something. Oh my God. And David broke down in front of Claire. Her first time seeing that. Tom squeezed David's hand, bringing him back to the moment. He had to be strong. He had to be stoic. Keep looking at me, honey. I love you. You're my soulmate. I don't want to leave you. But if I have to go, I want you to know that I will love you forever, Tom urged. Don't say that. You're going to be fine. You are, damn it, David shouted. David, it's the words, Tom replied. Don't look away. It's the words. The words are everything. You'll see the words, the ideas, and the end, and the beginning, and about protecting innocence at all costs. Tom lay there so certain of the answer, knowing that there were seconds left for this moment. Get it out so the work can continue, the meaning of it all. This connection, the real vow between them could not be broken. Not by a siren, not by David's will to let Tom survive. It had to stay. It had to remain unbroken, the way it was then and the way it will always be. Tom thought for a second. He could let go of David if he wanted. He could let his eyes drift off. But he decided no. He didn't want to roll the dice on that one. He thought, David can do it. He knows what I'm saying. He knows that the words are everything. I know it. Awarenesses are like that when they come to you. They sneak up on you on slippered feet, and they goose you and cause a surprise meant for no harm other than to hear you squeal with delight. Tom wondered at the irony of saving his own life so that he could go beautifully when the time came. But he also felt simultaneously afraid to leave because he had to tell his story. Tom hugged himself on the inside and he let the living Tom go. Really this time, not like on the beach or on the gurney or in the shower. This time he released both Toms from bondage because he realized that he was just proving a point. Same as in every book that he had ever written before. Books that lined a shelf that David would need to pull off to believe in Tom so that he could hold his gaze and not look away. The vow would never be broken, period. The vow to himself. Tom was free, and in that second, he allowed himself to become somebody else. He realized his terrible delusion, the alibi he'd given himself all these years, and he thought, and isn't that a bitch? At the end of the day, when you find out that you're the delusional one, is that a day of celebration? Is that a day you hand out a birthday cake and plant a single candle in the center and blow it out in front of your friends and claim that day as the day that you're somebody new? Or do you lay there, he wondered, and do you die into somebody else? Do you allow the realization of the new person to fall over you? The spin and gravity of your own perspective tumbling you into darkness or a tunnel with a light? And do you make a choice? You have 3. Choose your favorite, stay with David. Choose the more interesting one, follow your mother, see what's out there. Or 3, choose poorly out of fear. No. Love is expansive, and reality is a beacon, and it calls to me now, he thought. This understanding of the profound grace of existing between everything I know and everything I've yet to discover. But love is expansive, just like the universe. And love creates new perspective free of gravity, and perspective in love is the antidote to fear, the antidote to falling. When fear is vanquished, only humor remains. He thought it makes sense. The idea that a thought can become a word, that can become a thing, once spoken into existence, it must be created. For in the idea itself, the endless beckons for answers that only come from advancing perspective. It makes sense, he thought. I am not delusional. I am endless. I am the sum total of all things that I am, and I have only yet to begun to understand who I am. Therefore, I am endless. I ride along a wave of love, a musical frequency that defies gravity and makes us levitate over the unknown. Love is a frequency that can be found within me, in that place where I know the truth is sitting and having tea with sympathy. I feel a calling. I feel a need to be new again, he said to himself. A chance to know myself better than before, so that I may turn from my frailties and face myself without them. I love you, me. I love you, Tom. Look what you've done. Look at David. That's all that you need. Nothing to square here, just the roundness of the circular reference. Where's David? Am I David? Am I Tom? Who am I? I'm who? I chirped from the corner. Keep looking at me, babe, David said. Such a simple request, Tom thought. I look in his eyes, and I see the imprint of individuality, an iris as unique as a fingerprint, the black hole of understanding at its core. That iris could open doors to secret places, or it could be magnified so you could see the universe imprinted on the cells of his eyes and the truth inside the pupil. Oh, I hear a bee. I love them, he thought. I hear a wave. I love them. I see you, David. I see into you, and I find what I knew was already there. Me, you, all of it, and all of it yet to come. And the sirens came. Tom looked at the window past his impromptu writing desk and the ocean beyond. The light became brighter than he could stand. In his pocket he could feel the watch, and he pulled it out. He looked at it and showed David. And the sun filled the window frame and glittered off its gold face, and more, it became the portal again, through which he could see something quite wonderful beyond. He was torn by the opposing desire to stay and look at David, or let his mind wander and join the sun. How stunning, he thought. How utterly breathtaking. I could go. I could go. Am I ready to go? No. I want to stay in the end. I would like to tell this tale. I would like to string my sentences together, the one that told you privately who I am, in a few simple words. The formation of sounds that semiotically present the most wonderful sounding fanfare. A word married to an idea, bound in perspective. In that moment, the most beautiful sentence came to Thomas Sanders, about whom we have spent a great deal of time getting to know. And that's the thing about time. It's bendable, you know? Okay. Well, this one packs a punch, doesn't it? Drawn from real life. I did have an emergency. We thought I was having a heart attack. And I thought, Tim has to look at me the whole time. I can't, I want him to see me, even when I leave, if that's the case. And it was rough. And they thought, they came and there was nothing wrong with me. The crazy thing is that my eyes were dilated, I was tachycardic, all these things, but I hadn't taken any medicine. I hadn't even drinking a cup of coffee. And yet there we were. I think maybe just all the grief, all the trauma, everything I was dealing with came to that moment. And in that moment, I had a choice. I really did have a choice. I know I could have gone in that second, and my character could too. And it's interesting, the complex poetry that runs through your mind in such a moment. The irony of it, the humor of laying there after all this, after all we've been through. This is it, on a couch, on a regular Tuesday. I should interview Tim and have him come on and talk to you guys, but I think that might be a little cruel. I don't like to remind him of these near misses, I do have an autoimmune condition, and it is sometimes pretty rough. So what do you think's happening in this moment? Tom is making a choice we all have to make, right? You can either invest all that energy of all those things that went wrong in your life and all those people that hurt you. You could pour all that fear and anger into your heart. You could pour all of that into your heart. But why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all to feed your heart so many terrible things, darkness. And my character realizes that. And I realized that. This is my heart, but it's my mama's. It's Tim's. We exchanged hearts when we got married. We took a vow. This is his heart. Why in the world would I want to fill it? Well, we do every day. If you have a basket with an apple in it, you have a basket with an apple in it. But if there's no apple in that basket, you don't wander around and say, there's no apple in this basket. There's no apple in the basket. That's wrong. That's an illusion. That is a basket for apples. There is no absence there. It's just that sacred act of that place between becoming and not becoming. And that's where wishes live. That's where faith lives. when you are in between the space of what you were and what you're becoming, or the space of an idea. Once an idea is thought of, it exists forever, right? My character says, so why not take it out for a spin? The idea being that once you have an idea, it exists forever, therefore you should do something with it. And if you have an idea that's bad, or a thought that's bad, you got 17 seconds to change your mind, focus on something else, and forget it. It's not about forgetting. It's about unremembering. So in my world, in the Santa frequency world, 0 is not nothing, because there is no nothing. To consider nothing means to make it something. So logically, there is no nothing. But there is that placeholder of becoming. I like to say that the world is this and something yet to be discovered, and that perception is 9/10 of reality, and that what you focus on, you become quantumly entangled with. So if you are spending all your day in the shower, at work, in the drive, at home, when you should be with the dog, having fun, looking at clouds, and you're busy filling your heart with rage because of something somebody did, you are quantumly entangled with it, which means it is a more difficult process to unremember when you are quantumly entangled. So the idea is to not do it. And that may sound weird. And I'm sure that there are spiritual words that could be used to describe this experience, to describe it. My experience was close to a rapturous experience, and I was changed as a result of it. This book is a result of that experience. I was writing something else when that happened. But I learned that I did have to let that other part of me go, and it's hard because it's you. It's a part of you. You've lived with this hurt person your entire life, and they need to be vindicated. But that is not the way it goes. That is not the purpose for living here. The purpose is not vindication. Your purpose is not revenge. Your purpose is not proving a point, as my character's tried to do in every book he's ever written. He's trying to prove a point about which no one cares really, or should. So the tool here, the absolute tool here to open the portal for yourself, to find Santa Land, is to turn your attention away from the things that upset you, to forgive, but go about the sacred act of unremembering, which means detaching yourself sometimes from that person, which may seem cruel, but it's not. You're doing them a favor. Why? Because you're preserving the absence of them rather than the fullness of them in the construct that they created that you perceived. This thing about observation is very important to me. Scientific experiments remove the observer from the observed. That somehow you're observing a scientific experiment, you're not participating in it, but on a quantum level you are. And we can prove these things, right? There's lots of science to back up these things. But here's the idea. Here's the thought. Even if it's just a possibility, it makes total sense, right? So we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater just because the bathwater is green because we forgot that somebody put in Calgon and it's green. I don't know. That's a terrible analogy, but you know what I'm saying. I feel very strongly about this because there are a lot of people out there who are considering unaliving themselves. There are a lot of people out there dealing with trauma and grief. And my gosh, the need for vindication and justice is so powerful. I've pushed the system so many times. Truly, I'm the victim of violence. I pushed the system to get my justice. I didn't. I was a victim of childhood violence. I pushed the system to find answers, and all I found were lies. And I had to walk away from that and intact, to find a way to become intact. As a result of all of these things that my characters experienced, that I've experienced in life, that my husband's experienced in life, we've walked away from them and found ourselves to be incorruptible. Joan of Arc was uncorruptible. Incorruptible, that's the appropriate way to say that. How many others who've been put to the ultimate test that have not abandoned their faith or their belief in themselves? Faith is not something that you put on a coat and go to on Sunday. Faith is something you live in your heart every second. You see a cloud, you see a cricket, you see happiness, kindness, and you thank God for it. That's what I do. And it seems to work. It really does. It seems to work. So I'm just going to play with this experiment for a while. And we're going to see how things turn out the next 10 years or so and see if my theory holds true. But it brings me comfort, and I hope it brings you comfort too. Because at the end of the day, we're here to take care of each other. We really are. We're here to love each other, love ourselves, take care of each other, do great things for each other, right? If that was the world we lived in, then, well, goodness, I imagine we'd be in Santa Land, where anything is possible. You just have to believe. Thank you for joining me on the Santa Land podcast. Episodes come out weekly, and I am very grateful that you're here. Buckle up. We're going to have a lot of fun. Thanks. Good night.